right now I want to bring the conversation over to the Manchester United goalkeeper, Senne Lammens, because here's a guy who, you know, made the move, a pretty big move for him, moving from Belgium all the way to England. There's a lot of expectations on his shoulder, and also the fact that every Man United goalkeeper goes through so much of pressure. But Gary, so far, he does look like he belongs there.
He's done very well so far, yeah. You know, he's given some confidence and belief, I think, to that United defence, which has been, you know, pretty shambolic at times this season. But for me, what he has shown is just basic good goalkeeping. Nothing fancy, nothing clever. Keep it simple. Make saves when you have to. Clear it when you have to. Why complicate it?
He's only young, isn't he?
Yeah,
23, is he? 23. Mature, shows maturity.
And, you know, his previous 2 seasons playing in Belgium at Royal Antwerp, I think it was, barely 50 games in the league across 2 seasons. So, you know, vastly inexperienced. To go into such a big club as Manchester United and be as calm and composed as he has been speaks volumes for him.
I agree with when you say the big club, but also as well, that is a big position, isn't it? You know, you follow. They still talk about Peter Schmeichel, don't they? The greatest ever, but they've never really. I was having a conversation. I can't remember who it was with the other day, and we were talking about all the Manchester United keepers. They've had some keepers that have not really done well, have they? I mean, was it Van der Sar was probably the last one?
You
know, but they've had some quality goalkeepers that haven't been able to do
Carroll,
it.
Tim Howard.
That haven't been able to, you know, impose themselves in that position. And Onana, you know, really, you know, brought a lot of pressure on himself. He's obviously moved out now, and this young lad's come in, and he's had to prove himself because, you know, unfortunately for Manchester United and their defence, it's not been great. They've only had 1 clean sheet this season. In fact, this game, there's only 1 clean sheet between the 2 teams, isn't there, this season? So. But, you know,
Don't say it.
I know. Yeah, we're going to get a 0-0, aren't we? But both keepers have been tested this season, but he's stood up to the task. Yeah.
But, you know, watching Lammens, it got me thinking a little bit. I was listening to him speak in an interview where he spoke about the fact that he's a lot better at shutting out the noise and staying calm. And in fact, that's sort of like the analysis shared by a lot of Belgian football followers as well, that he has always been this level-headed, calm figures. But when it comes to goalkeepers, you almost always have 2 different types of profile. You've got the calm, level-headed ones, and then you've got the mavericks, the guys with the capacity to make it about them, to be loud, to be out there. Which one do you guys feel like is the best profile for a goalkeeper?
Personally, I like a calm goalkeeper. So as a defender, which was where I predominantly played, or a defensive midfield player, but I needed to have some reassurance behind me, some calmness behind me. I didn't like playing in front of a goalkeeper who was maybe a ranter and a raver so much.
Would you have enjoyed playing in front of Emi Martinez, for example?
You know, one of the world's best, so I guess you'd have to say yes, but he is very vocal and very, you know, high energy, isn't he? I think I'd prefer somebody slightly calmer than that.
Yeah, the profile of goalkeepers has changed over the years, hasn't it? Sort of more into the modern game, because they do a lot more, don't they, than the goalkeepers from our generation, where they predominantly made saves and, you know, cleared the ball. Now they've got to play with their feet, so they're almost, you know, an outfield player, aren't they? Some of them, they're that good with their feet. So you need that calmness as well. And I think, you know, we've gone away from the crazy goalkeepers. You know, I think there's a lot more now that are very calm. Quaveen Kelleher, you know, he was so laid back. You know, he was horizontal, but then you got Alisson, who's the same as well. And I think these new young up-and-coming goalkeepers, like the Manchester United ones, they're more of that profile.